What's up, folks? I am here with one of my good friends, Ann Johnson. I'm super stoked. She's in town from Denver, and she brought some damn good beer. She also has a fear that she hasn't told me yet, but she did send like a hint, and I don't know if I should be concerned or if I should be excited. Probably both. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Ann Johnson.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, my name is Stu Hawk, and this is my podcast about all the weird, crazy, spooky things that scare me and my guests, and the one thing that helps us forget all about them. Ladies and gentlemen, beer freaks. Dun, dun, dun.
Thank you, Stu. I'm so excited to be here.
Probably not the one and only, because there's a lot of Ann Johnsons out there.
I actually had to change my middle name when I got married because I couldn't be Anne Marie Johnson. It was just too basic.
There's probably, 10,000 Ann Marie Johnsons in the world.
So I'm Ann Evelyn Johnson now.
Ann Evelyn. You know what's funny is actually one of the people who has been on this show is named Marie Evelyn.
No way.
Or Evelyn Marie. I always forget which one's her first and middle name, but she goes by both.
So you don't know her very well.
I do.
Oh, okay.
But so here's the funny thing. I always knew her as Marie, but then I think she went into the professional world. I think that's a really
messed up thing when people they don't have this is your kind of cadence of your name, and they just throw it out of turn and just pick whichever one they want.
Yeah.
It stresses me out.
Well, it throws me off because she happened to become friends with another group of people that I also knew.
Who knew her by a different name.
Who know her as Evelyn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who the fuck is Evelyn?
That messes me up.
But
I feel tricked.
Yeah.
I feel
is this...
Pick a name.
Is this... Have you been
Alter ego?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What's the term? I'm trying to think of the term.
Duped?
No. It was like an MTV show.
Punked?
No. I'll think of it later.
Okay.
This is bad radio right now.
Yeah, because I'm not good. I have that pop culture gap on some of the MTV things.
Yeah. Oh my God. This is going to kill me. Fuck. Never. Forget it.
No, you're good.
Forget it.
I think we need a beer.
Well, we do. But before we get to the beer, so
yes.
This is the one cadence of the show that even matters. I honestly, it doesn't even matter. But this is what I've sort of held true to. So we've introduced you. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of the cool shit you've done recently, because you've been to Africa, you've had some interesting experiences. But before we get to the beer, because you brought 4 badass looking beers.
I'm excited.
It could be an interesting Wednesday night.
I know, can't wait. Hey, you can't hang with the Johnsons, look out.
The Johnsons hang.
Yes.
The Johnsons hang. But you got to give us a little hint of what fear are we looking at before we get into the beer?
Yeah, so this is a fear
excited.
since I was a little girl, and it stems from where I grew up. I grew up on a small farm, 40 acres in rural Minnesota, and I was like Laura Ingalls pretty much. I had my own calf that I got in the spring, and I fed it out of a galvanized bucket. And
did you name it?
Yeah, named them always, and in the fall we shipped them off to get butchered, and sometimes we ate them. But when I was a girl, I had to stand in line or stand out waiting for the bus at the end of our driveway. And at the end of our driveway was our mailbox that had a pipe that it was mounted to. So it was like a hollow pipe. Mm-hmm. And birds would make a nest in that pipe. And so when I was waiting for the bus, barn swallows, which is a type of bird that probably is not the right name for it, but that's what we called them, as barn swallows.
Sounds right.
They built a nest in that pipe. And so I was waiting for the bus. When they had their babies, they were very protective of their babies, and they did not like me waiting for the bus, and so they would swoop at me. And it's weird because my mom has the same fear, but it has nothing to do with her waiting for the bus, because she was really Laura Ingalls and went on a horse buggy carriage to school. There was no bus that picked her up.
Oh, man.
She was like a country girl.
Like the long dress and the apron and all that?
Yeah,
the bonnet?
For 100%.
Oh, my God. That's awesome.
She's the same age as Anne Frank, for reference.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, she's 92.
Holy cow.
So she's real fucking old.
Wow. So she had you late.
Very late. She was 45 when I was born.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but she grew up, and chickens would terrorize her, and they had chickens growing up, and they would chase her, and she became afraid of birds. And I think she instilled. We had an owl in our yard one day, and we couldn't leave the house. It's like this innate fear of birds that I cannot shake. And preparing for this, I started thinking about like, what am I afraid of? And I've listened to some of your other podcasts, and I've saw the topics.
I appreciate that. You're like the one person.
Yeah. Super fan.
Yes, you are the elite. You get a star.
Yeah. And there's a lot of meta topics that have come up with, global warming. That's not an example, but like the overpopulation or what happens to you when you die and all these things. And I'm like,
that was deep.
I'm just not afraid of those things. And I don't know why. I just don't have irrational fears.
Afraid of the dark. It's like
Nope.
No worries.
No, I'm by myself all the time. I'm dark. Doesn't bother me. Nothing. Birds scare the motherfucking shit out of me.
Oh my God.
And I don't want them to exist, and I don't feel that they add value.
It's like a business proposition right now.
Yeah. And
what good are you?
So I found this website recently that has conspiracy theorists that they believe that the government killed all the birds and replaced them with robots who are all watching
Jesus
us.
Christ.
And that's where birds aren't real. Check it out.
Are those the flat earthers?
Maybe, but Birds Aren't Real is a real thing. It's a website. They sell shirts. They sell paraphernalia. And I just ordered one today off of Amazon. I'm like getting my shirt that says Birds Aren't Real.
Birds aren't real.
But that's just a dream that I have. That's not real.
You hope that that's the case.
Right. I know it's not real. I know it's not rational. And
Wouldn't it be worse if the birds were government drones?
No, because then we could all join together to realize that they're bad. It's not just a thing that, like, I believe that it would be, we all get to believe this together, that birds are terrible.
Oh my God.
They carry disease. They shit on you.
They're gross.
They swoop at you. They attack you. Like, they're
gross.
They don't add value in my life. A bee,
what good are you?
Remember when
birds?
bees used to be bad and you would like, oh my God, kill a bee, there's a bee in here?
Yeah.
And now we're like...
You're not allowed to do that.
Now we're like, precious bee, go
I think
carry
California
your
has
pollen.
made that illegal.
Sure,
Probably.
I'm on board with it. I'm fine. They make the honey. They pollinate the earth with great things. Bees are great. They can still sting you and hurt.
Yes.
But they're not a motherfucking bird that's going to shit on my head and poke my eyes out.
Oh my God.
They made a movie about this, for fuck's sake.
Have you seen it?
The bird. No.
Oh my God. I feel like you have to see it.
It's terrifying.
That needs to be, you need to watch this movie and then come back on the podcast.
That is my worst nightmare, is to watch a movie about birds attacking people.
You know what's funny too? Is that's the Alfred Hitchcock.
He made it for a reason.
Well, so here's the funny thing though. It's like I've watched the movie and I'm just like, what the fuck is the big deal? Like,
because they're birds.
I mean, they're annoying. I got shit on at lunch in high school one time, and I was made fun of for months.
What other thing is shit on you?
My son.
That's fine. He's your son. You gave birth to him. He's not going to do that for the rest of his life.
I mean, I didn't give birth to him.
Oh, well, you helped in some of this process.
Right,
He genetically is from you.
He's half me.
Yeah. A
good
bird
half.
is going to continue to shit on you. It's never going to grow out of the shitting on you stage.
Shit on your car too.
Yes.
Fuck up your car. Like as soon as you get a car wash, guaranteed.
Yes.
Right
I
on the
hate
head.
them.
Yeah.
And they're terrifying.
I don't like them. They're not cool. Like, I actually grew up in a family that used to have parakeets and shit like
Nope.
that. Yeah.
Nope.
So I kind of I think I got used to it, but I also realized how disgusting they were.
Yeah.
And it
you
would
have to
bite
clean
me.
their cage.
It would
bites
bite
you.
me all the
Well,
time. Like, it's a little beak.
Unacceptable.
But that thing can bite pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
they've got, like, dinosaurs. They come from dinosaurs. Like,
Yeah,
that should be an
pterodactyl.
indicator.
Yeah.
No. Like, all of them. They're more closely related to birds than lizards. That's what they've, recently found out.
That is something I did not know.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
They actually think, like, velociraptors had feathers.
I'm on board with dinosaurs, though.
Well,
I mean, I
you
saw
might not be
Jurassic
anymore.
Park. Yeah.
I think your opinion's got to change now.
Maybe. I'm on board with that. Yeah. It's not...
Dinosaurs, you're out.
Yeah. And I would say that it's more than just like the fear and the hatred of them. It kind of is encompassing of a control thing too, where I don't have any control over birds.
Not at all.
Where you
Not
can train a
even close.
dog, you can train a kid, you can train all these things. Birds, I just don't believe you can even train them.
I don't know, like those people who fly falcons and shit like that. That's pretty cool. But that's not really training as
No.
much as like I'm just gonna feed you.
Yeah.
And like I can control your food.
Yeah, and that's
But
nothing that I
thing,
have an interest in.
I
no,
could
either.
turn on you in a
Yeah.
dime.
Yes.
I could tear your throat out.
Yeah, I have,
Which
I have
is horrifying.
a few more theories on them in general, but I just, overarching, when I come to think of, I mean, I'm afraid of other irrational things. Control tends to be a theme in my life, so maybe birds are in that wheelhouse.
Because they're flying around. They're
Yeah.
flying around, just taunting you, really. They're just looking at you like, fuck Ann.
And look at, they
she
can
can't
hang
get
on
me.
electrical wires. Who else can do that? That's not...
Monkeys.
Yeah, monkeys aren't my favorite, though, either. Don't tell Ken, because he is obsessed with all primates.
Well,
He, for his 50th birthday, has a dream of having an orangutan jerk him off. He would like to hire... That's like his 50th birthday wish is for an orangutan to jerk him off.
oh my God.
Yeah, he could be a guest on here in a heartbeat.
I need Ken to... I need to meet Ken, first of all,
Yes,
because
you
you've
do.
told me so many damn good stories.
He is my favorite person. I'm obsessed with him, and the thing with him, he delivers.
Well, it's a good thing you married him.
Yeah, you can't build somebody up so much, and then somebody else meets him, and they're like, oh my God, why did she build him up so much? No, he delivers.
I've seen that happen before. It's like, they're
No.
all right.
No, he definitely delivers when. Yeah, there's a lot of Kenny J-isms out in this world. Yeah,
That's 50th birthday.
yeah, only 4 more years.
It's coming up soon.
It's a known fact. The Minnesota tribe of ours are all waiting. They're in anticipation. There's a countdown on.
I'd be afraid, though, because those things are strong.
Oh yeah.
That's a dangerous
I'm
proposition.
not going to let it happen.
Are you
Trust
sure?
me, yes.
Maybe like a baby one.
Maybe.
But then,
that's creepy.
But then that's like child. And now we're trudging in some dangerous territory.
Yes.
Let's walk this back to the
Yes,
beer.
thank
Let's go.
you,
Let's
thank you,
let's
thank
let's
you.
crack one.
Yes. I think we should
pretend like none of that just happened. This is why we don't edit the show, folks.
Went down a rabbit hole there.
I have a feeling that's going to happen a lot.
I think we should start with the original Juicy Banger. So I brought a couple beers from our local brewery back in Denver.
Is that this guy?
Yep. So a little history. Do you want
to talk about it?
Yes.
Yeah, no, let's hear the background.
So Station
I'm
26.
letting you hold it. You can
yeah,
wield
Station
the power.
26 Brewing. Their motto is "For You, for All." And Ken and I 2 years ago moved to Denver from Minnesota. We, on a moment's notice, it was June 3rd. He got a call. Hey, you guys are moving to Denver. You need to be there Monday, June 5th by
Jesus.
noon.
June
And
5th, 2 days.
2 days.
Good
Less than 48
Lord.
hours. And he went. It was terrible. He was working 20 hours a day. He was living out of a hotel. And 4th of July was coming up, and I said, I'm booking a ticket. You're going to have a Tuesday off in the middle of the week. You can't fly home for it, but you have a day off. And I said, I'm just going to come to Denver, and we're going to check it out. I'll be there. I can, at least we're in the same state together for, a week at a time.
Yeah.
So as I was there and by myself, I'm working from a hotel. I'm working from a DoubleTree, actually, with the cookies. Yeah.
The best
Best
that you
cookies.
just shared with my son.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I think he ate that whole thing in like 2 minutes.
I know, and they wanted more. I should have brought 6.
No, I'm glad you didn't.
So I Googled breweries, as Denver is known for, and there happened
Sure.
to be one that was 4 blocks away from the hotel we were staying at. And it was the 4th of July, and I was like, hey, I found a brewery. We went to Golden that day. We bummed around, came back, and I was like, let's go to this brewery, check it out. We went in, and it's an old fire station. It's super cool. There's the walls are lined with fire hoses and
they
fire
kept the
patches.
theme.
There is a pole, all of the above. And I met the coolest girl ever. Her name was Hans. Sorry, Hans, for exposing your secrets. Her real name is Hannah, but she goes by Hans. But I just thought she was the coolest person ever, and we had the best time. At the end of the night, we told her all of our story. We talked to her forever. There was only a few of us in there, and we just fast friends immediately.
Yeah.
And at the end of the night, we got our bill, and it said regulars discount. Night 1. The Johnsons are in.
Damn.
Yeah. And
Making
I was
inroads.
we can do this. We can live here. And we credit Station 26 to us being able to adapt and acclimate to Denver.
Dude, that was like your welcoming party.
Yes,
That
it's amazing.
is-
And it's become our second home. We're there all the time. We're there Thanksgiving, Christmas, any special event, anytime people come to town, we're at Station. They know us. They know that we're bringing friends in, all this stuff. So their flagship beer is this Juicy Banger IPA. And I brought 2 versions of it because right now they also have the fresh hop out. So I think we'll start with the original Juicy.
The original. Okay.
And so then we'll have a little taste test comparison between the Juicy original and the fresh hop.
Let's do it.
And
while you're pouring that, by the way, I just want to call out all the other guests who didn't have a cool ass story like that, because that's the whole purpose. I want to know like the beer that helped change your life, or like something that left an impression at least.
And I was actually more excited about the beer portion of your podcast than I was about the fear.
Me too. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah. Beer is
the fear is just the conversation piece.
Yeah, and the beer is what really brings people together. When you talk about beer, you talk about memories, you talk about what you like about it. The beer is great beer. Don't get me wrong, and you'll find out really quick. It smells
good.
It's really good beer.
Oh, yeah. That smells like a good IPA.
But it's also the stories that go along with it and the people. And if the people that work there weren't as cool as there, and Hans has since left. I'm still really good friends with her. She lives in Brooklyn. But like we still text all the time, and like we're going to go see her next spring. She comes back.
Oh, you guys are like legit friends.
Yeah.
Like,
that's one thing. Thank you for saying that, because it's when people talk about friends and how they know each other.
Yeah.
We have a lot of friends who are in the service industry that people will say, how do you know them? And I'm like, oh, they work at the brewery that we go to. And immediately it is completely like thrown out that we're not real friends. And I'm like, no, there's validation in this. These people are our family. They're our good friends. We hang out with them outside of their job. It's not that we only are friends with them because they work at a place. That drives me 100% crazy.
Still humans. Like at the end of holy shit, just because, they're serving a beer and I'm hanging out drinking the beer does not change the entire dynamic.
And how do you know people in general? Like, you know people from places that you go, things that you enjoy, you have things in common, you like to talk about the same types of things. And it just happens that we have met people who work at establishments that we go to, but become our friends.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's no different than if you worked with them or if you met them at the grocery store.
It's like the only way I make friends nowadays.
Yeah.
I'm at that age now where I don't get to meet new friends.
Well, no, you're
unless
not.
I'm at like work.
Yeah, and you're not we don't have little kids anymore, so we're not having play dates where we're going to meet parents of,
Oh, that'll be coming for me soon.
Yeah,
play
that's
dates.
actually a lot of our
Did you enjoy that?
It was not that as much as the sports. So once our kids got involved in sports and they were in that kind of middle school age range, your entire life is around your kids because they can't drive themselves.
But they have a real life.
And they have a real life. And
God.
you are
lame.
You find that group of parents, and we found our group in Minnesota where it was like, we ended up going on vacations with them. They're still really good friends of ours. And like my best friend back in Minnesota, Rhonda, her daughter and my daughter, same age, played sports together. They don't even really hang out anymore, but Rhonda and I are besties.
Dude, you like make friends.
Yes.
Like but that's all. Well, hey, before
cheers.
Yeah, let's take a sip of this.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, that is Station 26 Brewing for you for all. That is fucking good.
And
that is really good.
I know, and it doesn't get the accolades I think it deserves. It is on tap at a lot of places in Denver.
Is it?
It's not wildly distributed outside of the Denver area, but you do find it on tap at a lot of the local bars in town. They do have a distributor, so you can find it outside of just the brewery.
Do you have any idea like what the alcohol percentage is on this?
I think it's 7.
Yeah, it tastes
7.
like it's
4,
up there.
If I'm getting really technical.
Well done.
Mm-hmm.
No, thank you. You brought this all the way from Denver. That is dedication.
Hold on, I checked a bag for you, dude. I checked
I'll cheers you again for that. That is well done. No, thank you.
And I even switched flights, and so my bag ended up getting here before I did.
Oh, so it's just the beer was here before you.
Yeah. I got a text in flight saying, your bag has arrived. I was like, well, that's not the plane that I was on anymore. Well. You said you took it off and put it back on a different flight. You were just kidding. Delta, you tricked me because it got there before I did.
Oh, boy. Well, at least it didn't get there after you. Because you can't leave this fallen soldier behind there.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I've kind of had a lot of experience with traveling with beer. Have you been to Boston?
Never, no.
Okay, so East Coast has a lot of good beer. Boston has some great beer. And
New York's got a lot of good beer.
They do. Brooklyn specifically.
Brooklyn's good. Yeah, yes. Brooklyn's got a good beer scene.
Some of our best friends, I'm going to give a shout out, Kish and Kelly. Kelly had an opportunity with General Mills to move to Boston. And we're not typically people who go travel to see friends, but they're almost more like family to us. And so we flew out to Boston and spent, 4 or 5 days with them and got to know this Wachusett. Wachusett, which is out of Massachusetts.
Presumably.
Yeah. And they tricked my husband into thinking that when you ordered a Wachusett, they had the best beer ever. It's a blueberry ale. We like fruit forward beers. Just spoiler alert.
I generally don't, but I've had my mind changed a couple of times.
It's really mild. It's not there. Station has a tangerine cream that's really bomb too. That's so good. Anyway, they tricked Ken into that when he ordered a blueberry Wachusett at a bar in Boston, that he needed to do a hand gesture that was almost like a you have your hand flat and you have to like make it a point and say Wachusett. And so they convinced him that was like to be very East Coast, that he had to say Wachusett and like do the hand motion. And
like an Italian mafioso.
Yes.
Like Wachusett.
So we became obsessed with that, and at the time I was working for General Mills, and I had to fly out east. I had a customer out there, I had one in Olean, New York, and I had another in AG Manchester, which for grocery nerds out there, they're really, really small, very, very small customers. But it gave me the opportunity to fly out there, and whenever I was there, I could get the blueberry Wachusetts, and I would have to fly back with it. So I got real savvy on flying with beer.
Do you ever like sneak it onto the plane?
Nope.
No.
No.
Checked
I don't. Well, because
never broke on you.
No, I've had one beer leak. I've had a growler leak, and it was
growlers are dangerous. I feel like taking a growler on a flight would be
crowler like these.
Oh, leaked?
It
really?
leaked around the seal because you know how they're the open can and they put the lid on, and they must not have like sealed it correctly because it just leaked.
Losers.
But for the most part, I usually brought like 12 packs of bottles back in my little carry-on, but I checked the bag and never had an issue. With glass bottles.
Yeah, with glass bottles. Like, my wife and I went to Napa, and almost every winery we went to was like, yeah, let us just ship it to you because you're going to break it. It's like, all right. I guess I should have just been asking you the whole time.
Yeah, I've flown with wine, too, and typically I wrap that in clothes. The beer, I leave it in the 12-pack and just pack clothes kind of in it. But the wine is a little bit more, you want to, like, wrap some sweaters around that, I guess. Yeah. But wine bottles are really thick, so they don't usually break. I also have a hard-sided suitcase.
Did you see the that gigantic beer that Amanda got me? I posted on Facebook.
I did.
That is going to have to be a podcast at some point.
Yeah.
We've got to finish the whole thing.
Well, what's the percentage on that?
It's monstrous.
Is it over 13?
No, I think it's like 10.
Is it a barrel-aged?
Yes, I think it is.
It might be closer to. It might be
up there.
12.
I don't remember. She actually gave it to me after doing a podcast, and I was already a little drunk.
Dude, you also though you can drink a bottle of wine. It's 750 milliliters, right? The bottle?
No, I think it's bigger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so I was gonna say it's a bottle of wine.
It's like the size of my torso.
Oh, well,
it's huge.
I mean, so it's like
it's like a.
That's real big.
What's that called?
A magnum?
What are you trying to say? The magnum. That's the word I was looking for. I am not finding words today. I think I need more beer.
It's fine. Yeah, more beer.
More beer will help. Loosen up the brain a little.
Because you can drink a bottle of wine by yourself, and that's like 13%.
Done it many times.
Yeah, and you're fine.
Yeah, but I think it's like twice the size. And it's like 1.5.
Well, but if you share it with somebody, you're each having a bottle of wine.
True. But we're also talking about like an hour to an hour and a half time period.
Again,
so it's
don't fuck with the Johnsons.
I feel like I've met my damn match here today. Like anyone who stepped into this ring, this little arena of mine, I could probably put to shame. Except I would say Ty. Ty was on the show. Ty's a monster.
Yeah.
Oh, he can throw him down. He knows what he's doing.
I actually, I didn't tell you this ever before, I don't think, but did he ever tell you I ran into him at Trader Joe's?
No. I feel like there's like.
It was one of those nights where I was like, I had a couple drinks at Todd's, and I was like, I should probably drink more. So I walked over to Trader Joe's.
Ooh, and get the Trader Jose?
No, I get the cans.
Well, have you ever had the Trader Jose's?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
But I get the cans. They're called Uncanny. It's little cans of wine.
It's called Uncanny.
Yeah, and
that marketing person feels so good about themselves.
They fit in your pocket. They're great for taking the strip. But I've had a couple drinks, and I'm like, roll into Trader Joe's and there is Ty and his gal, like with their little basket of organic who knows what. And
being
like,
healthy.
Being healthy.
I thought you were going to tell me he had just a crate full of beer.
No, but I'm like just strolling in to buy some canned wine.
You're just feeling good, just like cruising. Probably had your shades on.
I'm like, damn it, why did I have to run into somebody I know as I'm just like crushing cans of wine at a Trader Joe's?
He's like, hey, what's this uncanny over
I'm
here?
literally going back to my hotel room by myself to watch like old episodes of Grey's Anatomy as I crush some canned wine.
You know what? I gotta say this. You know how people like to say like, well, the true sign of an alcoholic is when you drink alone. I'm like,
Absolutely
that's
not.
fucking bullshit, dude. I am great company, and I like to keep it to myself sometimes. Some of my favorite nights.
It's relaxing.
Oh shit! When if I've had a long week, Amanda go to bed, Jackson go to bed.
It's wonderful.
Have a 6-pack of beer, just sitting in the fridge.
Yeah.
Play some video games.
Yep.
Just sit back, have nothing to do. Oh.
I think the other thing with that, I would abide more by like does it impact your daily life? And
Yes. Fair.
It's not impacting. It's not taking away from anybody else. I'm not withholding time spent with friends or family or abandoning some small child.
Jackson's alone in the house right now, but I'm just kidding.
I just don't abide by some of those. I think that there's a lot of things in this world that I'm going to go there. I'm going to go deep on.
Okay, let's do it. This is what we're here for.
So, typically, how people generally measure if they're doing a good job is by somebody else doing a bad job. And
so like someone to feel better about yourself then?
And so if they say, I don't ever drink alone, so then therefore I don't have a problem. Where that person drinks alone, so they have a problem, it makes themselves feel better.
Oh,
it's
sure.
putting somebody else down in order to, and it's a rule that somebody uses to justify their own actions. They might be going out to the bar every single night and staying till bar close and pounding shots and doing whatever. They weren't alone.
Yeah, they weren't alone.
So it's
they
fine.
Weren't alone. Yeah,
and so it's just like a barometer of justification that some people like to use.
Yeah.
And it's not limited to alcohol that people generally use that. It's,
what else do they use it in? Like
religion is a big one.
Oh, really?
And so like
how?
I go to church every Sunday. They don't. Therefore, I'm a better person.
Oh, okay.
Or
okay.
I take my coat off as I go into church to show off my Sunday best, and I'm not a garbage person who would like. Or another one that I have is like I use the right utensils at like a proper dinner, and so therefore I'm much more couth than somebody else. And at the end of the day, we're all still going to put food in our mouth and we're all going to eat. It's going to be fine. Whether you use chopsticks or a spoon, it doesn't really matter.
Yes.
Yes.
I totally agree.
There's just a lot of things that are like, if I do this, I am better than the person who does it a different way.
Yeah. That's interesting. And I think that that's probably really valid because, I mean, people, it's like having a benchmark, right?
Yes.
Because you can't, it's hard to just... Like, here's the thing.
It's ingrained in us.
It's ingrained in us because we have to find something to judge against.
Yes.
Because if it's just against yourself, well, what are you comparing to?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that, like, I've never struggled with, whether I've had a shitty day or I've had a shitty week or, I've had or a good day or a good week or whatever. I've never had a problem. Shout out to my parents. I think they did a good job. I've never had a problem just feeling good about myself. Like... And I know other people struggle with it, and I don't think it's their fault. But I think when you have a little bit more just like, I feel good about myself, then you have less of the...
So you're saying you had better parents than other people?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Cheers to Mom and Dad.
By
nice
the way,
work.
it's my dad's birthday today.
Happy birthday, Papa Hawk.
Yes.
Aww.
I think they actually his last name is Clark. He's my stepdad.
Okay.
But he was...
Sorry, I didn't mean to put him in a box.
No, he's good. He got it all his life when I was growing up, because he started dating my mom when I was 7.
Oh, shout out.
And he was an amazing dad. And we played baseball and football. So like all the kids would come up to him and be like, "Hey, Mr. Hawk." And he wouldn't correct him. Like he was just like, "No."
My heart is like exploding. That's awesome.
It's his 70th birthday today.
Happy birthday. Yeah. Cheers to Papa Clark.
Yes, Papa Clark out in Hawaii right now.
living the dream.
I think he passed Lisa in the air.
I know, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out to stepdads, though, in general. I can't imagine what it's like to come into a kid's life. Ken is my daughter's stepdad. And man, it's a rough couple of years on that, like, beginning part. It pays off.
How old were they when...
7 and 5.
Oh, so same age?
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. It was right around 6 and 4 or 7 and 5, right in that kind of wheelhouse. And there's definitely the challenging years in every kid growing up. But it's like, my girls are coming out to Denver next week. So my girls both live in Minnesota still because they're grown-ass adults and they don't have to live with me anymore. No. But that's the best
that
ever.
That means you're a good mom, too.
Oh, it's the best ever that they come and, like, stay and hang out, and we have so much fun.
Yes.
Ugh.
Yeah. Are you willing to tell the story of your daughter? Or do you want? You don't have to, because you told it's a wild story.
It is a wild story.
And it's also emotional. My heart was beating.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where kids, you're always going to worry about them, and you always you want them to be safe. And this kind of goes into a little bit. I have a theory on things always work out. Everything works out. I like that. I'm a very positive person in the sense of, like, it's okay, I'm not going to stress about it. Maybe that comes with the fear thing too, is that I'm not afraid of things because I always believe that I don't have a belief in some higher power making it happen. I just believe that, like, innately good things will happen at somehow, or they work out the way that they're supposed to. I'm on board with that.
Wholeheartedly agree.
And then something happens like this weekend where there was the fear of everything that I've ever believed in was gone for an hour. And I'm
getting stressed out right now because I already know where this is going.
Everything, there's a happy ending. It
doesn't help that it's like 100 degrees in this booth right now.
It's a happy ending and she's fine. But my younger daughter had a day. She had a very celebratory day. It's
good.
And she had a blast. She's 21. She's young, hot,
That's the
single.
age to do it. You got to do it.
She's had a hot girl summer. Instagram official on that hot girl summer
she
status.
She an influencer yet? Is she getting brands paying her for to hold their little products?
She has held out so far. I think she's holding out for The Bachelor to contact her.
Okay, good.
Long-term goals.
Don't sell out too soon.
No, exactly. Got to keep it fresh for that. And she made a decision late at night to go home with somebody, and I don't know how well she knew him or anybody knows him. And as they got to his place, the story that I got 7 hours later was that she was in a fake Uber.
Oh my God.
Where the guy she was going home with tried to get her out of the car and had her phone and her belongings and reached to get her. And as he was trying to get her out of the fake Uber sped away with her and took my daughter. She was taken like...
I'm already stressed. I'm stressed again.
Felt like Liam Neeson in Taken, where I was going to go bust some shit.
You like, tell him.
I was going to get on a plane. I was going to do something.
I will find you.
Yeah, I was going to do it. And they called the cops. Cops were involved. There was a picture of a person of interest. There was going to go on social media. They were trying to get videotapes from the bar that she had left. It was like the most dramatic, awful kind of scenario you could possibly imagine. And Duluth, Minnesota has a little bit of a history. It's a college town, but it has a history of, college students go missing. It happens all the time. College students.
The Great White North.
Yeah. Yes. Hoser, hey?
It's Canada, isn't it? I'm sorry.
Well, that's close enough.
For a Southern Californian, it's all the same up there.
It is, and Duluth is actually very close to Canada, so they do say things like that. And her roommate was an absolute badass. Shout out Emily Landry, nice work. She dealt with the cops. Done. She was calm. She was informative. She was definitely doing all the things that were being proactive and trying to stay positive and trying to keep me calm, trying to just keep everybody calm and think positively.
It's impossible to stay calm.
It was impossible.
Good for her for trying.
And long story short is that we found her about an hour later, and she was fine. And she had, in her drunken state, made a decision that she no longer wanted to go home with the guy that she started to go home with.
Good for her.
And decided to go to a different person's house. And she knew that fake Uber driver who, in the one guy's head, sped away with her to take her away from society, was actually taking her away from...
Actually saving her?
Yes. From a decision that she was probably making that wasn't so great. And I think all parties involved had good intentions.
Sure.
But when you say things like a fake Uber driver took your daughter...
Red flag.
Yep. That causes a lot of panic. You want to talk about things you're afraid of? That was terrifying. The most terrifying hour I could possibly... I'm surprised I'm able to hold it together and not cry because I can feel myself like quivering. Like
I'm quivering.
Yes.
When you first told me the story, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I am going to have a panic attack right now.
Yeah. And so you want to talk about fear. Like I think that's any parent's fear though, where you're something bad happening. And I actually told my friend Rhonda this. I said, I have such a positive attitude about things and I always think everything works out, that I was mad at myself because I was like, oh my God, I have been living this positive, everything works out, and I fucked my karma. Because I really believed everything was going to work.
Oh my God, you found a way to blame yourself for this situation
that had nothing
to do with.
Talk about a control freak.
Oh my God. Holy
I got
shit.
it.
You really do have a control problem,
I didn't realize that until recently.
So... Birds, watch the fuck out, because Ann Johnson might be coming for you.
Coming to fuck you up, birds.
She is coming for you.
I'm going to find a way to control you. And if it is true that birds don't exist and that they've been controlled by the government, I am going to apply for a job to be in control of the fucking birds.
Oh my God. It's the people who don't believe birds exist also are sure that there is a flat earth.
Yeah.
And that flu vaccines
are
bad.
Well, vaccinations
in general.
Yep.
And we never went to the moon.
And the Earth is only 2,000 years old.
And that's right. Well, I think are they giving it credit for 4,000 years now?
Maybe.
I think they may have given like an extra. It's 2,000 before Christ.
They don't have enough zeros.
One
way or the other.
They're missing an exponent.
Yes.
They're missing
an entire period of time. Which actually, this is a good segue.
They're basically bad at math. That's
great segue into. I know you talked about that. You wanted to bring up the fact that I just got back from Africa.
Yes.
One place that we went in Africa.
So cool.
That I did not expect. So, back up a little bit, really quick. We went to Rwanda and Tanzania. And I am a very planful person. I plan everything out. I have spreadsheets on spreadsheets on spreadsheets. I have every dollar
that I've... It's true. And I know this because we actually planned our last team trip. And I did absolutely nothing. And
I had spreadsheets.
And Ann was like, Stu, we got to meet and talk about this. And then eventually I think you just put it together. And my one contribution, I think, was, hey, let's go to a food hall.
Yeah.
That was it. That was the one thing.
You gave me a couple options and then I just picked one. Yeah.
That's right. We did it. We did it.
Yes, we did. Which is fine. I love planning. Like, I appreciate the fact so much that you let me. Because if you would have tried to take it over from me, I probably would have been annoyed.
Never would have happened.
No. So I planned this trip to Africa. It was like almost a 2-year planning adventure. And I knew we were going to Rwanda to see the gorillas. And then we were going to Tanzania to do a safari. And I had all these things planned out. And on the itinerary for Tanzania, our safari guy said, optional, go to Oldupai. I don't even know if I'm saying it right or if I'm spelling it right.
I'm going to guess no, but, close enough.
Oldupai,
I won't know.
Oldupai. It sounds like old pie to me. That's all I can tell you.
We have one listener from Rwanda who's like, what the fuck is she talking about?
It's Tanzania.
Oh, shit. All right. See, I already fucked that up, too. Yeah, God damn it.
And I didn't know what it meant, and it just said $36 a person extra. And we got there, and he's like, hey, do you want to do this? And we're like, sure, we're game. At this point, I'm letting go, and I'm like, let's do this. Add on, be adventurous. I'm adventurous, so I'm very adventurous. I make a plan. It doesn't have to follow exactly that. I just put a plan in place, and I'm flexible to a certain extent on how that works out. Not totally, but...
So when you say flexible, plans change?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So my wife is...
Nope.
Not that.
I'm okay with change, and I'm okay with... So people say, like, Ken say, we don't have any plans. We're just going.
That's me.
And I'm like...
That's me.
Well... but I have a plan. It's just in my head, and I haven't told you.
And I think my wife has started doing that to me.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's brilliant.
And he says,
I don't even know.
He says, like, he goes, oh my God, babe, why didn't you tell me? I'm like, you would have bitched about it for a week if I would have told you, and now I only have to listen to you bitch for an hour. So you're fine. So we don't even know what it is. And we get to Old Pie. I'm just going to call it Old Pie. It's not
like an old pie. Got left out on the sill.
And I'm not going to explain this very well, but I can tell you it is an archaeological site where 4 of the classifications of human have been found. So there's 5 classifications.
It's like the cradle, isn't it? Like it's like
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And so it's in Tanzania, and it is like the Lucy species.
It's like 3 feet tall or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh, I have a picture. I'll show you later. And there's so like cool. They found Lewis Lakey and Mary Lakey. They lived in these like tiny little kind of yurts almost, if you will, and they tirelessly for 28 years like dusted off shit out that they found out in this thing where I'd be like, it's a goddamn rock. And they're like, no, this was a tool. Like this kind of level of craziness. And
good for them.
It was absolutely fascinating and like something completely unexpected. That I expected to see animals and I expected to see interesting people, and like the Maasai are very interesting people to me.
Yeah.
I did not expect to go upon this like worldly journey through time of like this place in Africa has been around. We're talking about like the age of the earth.
Yes.
And there was like a cast of footprints that they had like taken that they found that were 3.5 million years old. That might be wrong,
God.
but it was somewhere around there. It was in the millions of years old. Wow. And the skulls that they found were, anywhere between like 1 and 3 million years old. And I just wanted to shake every human out there who doesn't believe and be like, go to Old Pie because you can see really old shit and it's real.
But
science, people, science.
It's not only is it science though, but like there's a pretty good chance that like your lineage somehow traces back to one of those things.
Well, yes.
Like Lucy, right?
Yeah,
like,
right.
Like that's like she I don't remember how far back she goes, but like she was the big one that they discovered, and they were like, this person was like 3 feet tall, basically a monkey.
Do you know why she was called Lucy?
No.
Ooh, fun fact for you.
Okay,
I learned a lot.
Let's hear it. Yes.
So they found
love fun facts.
They found so Lucy is a term for that particular time frame of. Lucy is not one thing. Lucy is a Homo erectus, Homo sapien. Lucy is the original.
But there was the one that they found that they were like, this is Lucy.
Right, but then it became the classification for that time frame or that like era of Lucy. And the reason I'm going to get this story wrong. We're not going to fact check. It's going to be fine.
We're not fact checking.
No.
But I need to get like a screen in here that we can like have someone like
Google,
pull up. Yeah. Just like Anne is wrong 98% of the time.
This is mostly right. It's mostly right. What happened was that somebody found them, this like tiny Lucy human, and the other people didn't believe that they found them, and they were too busy listening to the song The Beatles' Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
No shit,
yeah. And they were like, oh, what?
Which is named after LSD, right? Like that's the whole...
Yeah.
So
she's a druggie.
She's a drug addict.
She's the original druggie.
She is the queen pin.
Yes.
She's the queen pin of LSD.
Yes, psychedelics began.
But psychedelics are cool though, right?
Right?
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
You don't want heroin, you don't want opiates, but
all
psychedelics.
Natural only.
That's right on.
Do not do anything synthetic, only natural.
Dude, synthetic drugs are fucking crazy these days.
It's terrifying.
I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole because I also don't know enough. So I would sound foolish, but I know enough to know that you don't want to fuck around with that stuff. Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, so your Africa trip, sorry, derailing. Or do you want to... Oh, let's fucking crank this beast.
Yeah. So we're on to beer 2. And so this is also the Juicy Banger IPA. However, this is the version that is
a sweet beer
made with the fresh hops.
It's so innocent.
And so fresh hop, which for all you listeners out there who are beer snobs will know this already. It's going to be a little less hoppy.
Yeah.
Because it's
thrown in late, right?
Yeah.
The hops are thrown in late in the brewing process.
But they're also why am I even talking like I know? I think that they're...
Well,
not
your best friends are brewers apparently, or they work at the brewery.
They haven't been dried out, so they're like fresh hops that have not been dehydrated. Like you think about it, like throwing in fresh oregano as opposed to
they have dry hopped.
Correct.
Which is like that's probably like you're drinking a pine cone.
Right. So there's a little more greenness to this.
Yeah. This one tastes like the grass is still there on the pine cone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We sound like
that doesn't make any fucking sense.
No.
I don't know what the shit I'm doing.
It is really good. And I would say that I actually prefer the fresh hop over the...
Oh, you've been holding out.
Well, that's why we start. You got to start with the foundation.
Setting lower expectations.
No, you got to start with the classic original has to always be the first.
Yeah, okay.
You can't just dive into the line extensions.
Should I crack this bad boy?
Yes, crack it out.
All right. Oh, there we go.
And I've been talking so much that I'm a little behind you, so you go ahead and pour yourself some and I'll catch up.
It'll happen, though. I have a tendency to just drink really fast. I have to, like, generally, and I don't do this in the podcast booth, and I probably should, but I, like, drink a water in between beers. Otherwise, I'll have 6 beers in, like, an hour. Like, I'll just crank through them. Yeah. Because it's like it's not even like I'm trying to drink. But more it's there. It's more like, it's just like, it's almost like I want to say like a nervous tick or just like a habit. It's like beers in my hand, just, my sentence is over, and it so just sort of goes. Yeah. One of the drunkest New Year's Eve I had was, we went out for a happy hour and then we came home and we had a whole bunch of teenagers down in the basement. And so I didn't go down there because there was teenagers down there. And Ken got a phone call from somebody and went out on our deck and was talking. So I was just like sitting worrying about teenagers in the basement and worrying about why he's on the phone. And next thing you know, I was like, oh my God, I think I might need to go to bed. It's like 10:30. But like I just was sitting here and I drank so fast because I didn't take a minute to talk to anybody. Just sitting there doing nothing. Yes. Yeah, it happens. But I wasn't watching TV. I was just waiting for him to get off the phone, and I thought, you have nothing else to do. Yeah. You have your phone? I did, but it was long enough ago that there wasn't as many things on my phone. Have like some good apps to look at, right? Yeah. It was only Facebook. I don't think there was even Instagram. But the fucked up thing for me though is like it's the same for any other beverage. And like Amanda will tell you, if I get a Starbucks... You should never drink... But you should also never drink whiskey, probably. No, exactly. That's exactly right. Because, so I rarely drink alcohol. Same. If I do, I have to, hard alcohol. Clearly, this is a beer show. I drink alcohol. Right. But if we get Starbucks, right? Yeah. So there's a Starbucks at the Target that we go to. So we'll get a couple of Starbucks beverages. We'll start walking around the store. I mean, I'm fucking done with my Starbucks before the first turn. Like it's done, it's gone. And so yes, absolutely. When I drink hard alcohol, if it's there, if it's a mixed drink where like it's easy to drink too, holy shit, I will put that back and I'll be like, and my wife will be like, you just had 4 shots in 10 minutes. I'm like, Jesus Christ. He doesn't drink hard alcohol very, very rarely. Yeah. This beer is good, by the way. Thank you. It's very different too than the other. Yes. And it's That's a totally different taste. Right. It's crazy. Just based on the hops. I don't even know how to describe this one. It's almost like, it's almost got a savory kick. Like almost peppery. Or am I just totally making that up? No, you're right. You're right. Yeah. Do you get it's just so much more smooth. To me, it's way more drinkable. Well, you know what? I would say the first one's more smooth to me, but I'm so used to drinking IPAs, like standard IPAs, that it's not that it's not smooth, but it's different, and it's got that almost like peppery, savory flavor that like I could probably pace myself a little more on this. And see, I'm the opposite. I could pound this. Well, we'll see. Yeah. Jam on. Yeah. No, I'm much more, this is my jam. And in fact, when they do beer shots at Station, they know that Juicy is not our first choice. Beer shots. Yeah. We talked about this. You never did the Century Club. No. So to me, the whole like Power Hour or the Century Club or I've done both. Case Day, I was never a case. Wait, what's Case Day? What? I don't know what Case Day is. Case Day? That's a Minnesota thing. Is it? I don't know. I've lived in Arizona, Nevada, and California. I've never heard of Case Day. Case Day is when you get a case of beer and you drink it. Oh, that's just a normal Saturday.
No, but it's an event.
I'm kidding,
it's
folks.
Like
I don't do that.
It's like a Saturday in the fall at colleges. You have case day. It's typically around, I want to say, is it my
Like
girls
a case per person?
Yeah.
Shit.
You get a case of beer and you all like sit around campus and you drink your case of beer and you have to finish your entire case. Every person.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a fun day.
You know, my dad, he used to do this golf tournament, and he's sober now for I think like 20 years. But he used to have this golf tournament in Oregon where you had to partner up, and you guys, and it was tournament style, but you got an 18 pack between the two of you, and you had to finish the 18 pack before. Oh, it's his birthday. You're talking shit.
I'm a clerk. I apologize.
So I'm not going to be able to get past this. So you had to drink all 18 beers by the time you finished the 18 holes.
Which makes sense. That's the beer bowl.
Right.
I'm on board with that.
So,
I take back the pussy comment.
So what he said, though, is the best teams, their strategy typically was one guy would drink all 18, and then the other guy would generally not drink at all, or maybe like have one or two.
Hold the phone.
So that way...
Hold on, 18 for two people?
For two people.
Oh, well...
That's 9 apiece.
Yes.
In a 4-hour period.
But on those tournaments, it's a 5-hour round.
It could be a 5-hour round, and it was probably more like
Coors Light.
Coors Light,
for sure.
Yeah, totally. But we didn't have the 9% beers back then.
No, and I would say case day is almost always like a Coors Light, a Miller Light. You're not drinking a case of IPAs.
Drink 24 IPAs, you're probably dead, or you're just really bloated. Like you feel awful.
Yes, or you're puking halfway through.
Totally. Yeah, Century Club. A lot of people barf. Which the funny thing is, so for those of you who don't know, and this is because Ann was talking about beer shots. So Century Club is 100 shots of beer in 100 minutes, which if you actually calculate it out, I forget I think it was like 7 beers total, or something like that. And that's in almost 2 hours. That's a lot of beer, but it's not a crazy amount of beer.
It's hard because I think you're getting scientific on you. How are you drinking that beer, the amount of beer that you're drinking every minute? How is it portioned?
Yeah, it's like a shot.
So that's where you're drinking, you're opening your mouth and you're getting a lot of air in there as well.
You are too smart for your own damn good.
Thanks.
You got this. You nailed it. That's the problem. You are burping so hard.
I can drink.
You feel awful.
100 ounces of beer.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's like 2 pitchers.
Yeah, that's not bad.
No,
it's 7 beers.
Right.
I think. Again, don't quote me on the calculations here.
No, I'm tracking to that
12
because...
ounces times 7. So, that's 84, 90. Yeah, whatever.
Our math is off.
Close.
Yes.
It's like 8 beers.
Regardless, it's 4 beers an hour. Somewhere around there, 4 to 5. And you can do that. It's just the way that you're consuming it.
Because you're consuming it like a shot. You take in all the air with it.
Yeah.
And so many dudes who I know for a fact, because this was in college. This was back in the college days. Could put back a 12-pack or a 16.
Yeah.
Like, they could do that, no problem. But they would Ralph halfway through this.
Have you drank in altitude very often?
So, I went to school in Flagstaff. 7,000 feet.
Yep, you have.
6,000 feet, I should say.
Okay.
Yeah, it felt good. I came from San Diego, so it was like sea level.
Right.
And then, we went to Flagstaff the first few times. It's like, whoa.
We have that issue a lot when people come to visit us. Number one, it kind of aligns with don't fuck with the Johnsons. They come to town, they're not prepared to hang with the Johnsons.
The Johnsons hang.
Yes.
That needs to be on your doorstep.
Yeah. And then number 2, drinking at altitude.
Yeah.
So it's a double
Makes
whammy.
a difference.
And then number 3, weed is legal. And so they think that they're going to throw...
You double down. You're done.
Well, people like to come to Denver and like, oh, weed's legal. And they kind of get mad at us. I shouldn't say mad at us. There's people who are disappointed in us that we don't care about the weed being legal, because people come to town and they're like, we gotta go to the weed store. Like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. And we're like, it is. I get it. It's legal. It's awesome. That's wonderful. I have no issue with weed. But then people will kind of blow their wad on drinking a whole bunch.
Yes.
Wanting to ingest or smoke some weed because they can.
Yep.
And next thing you know, we've lived there for 2 years, and the first like 6 months, I think we had probably 5 groups of people come to visit us.
Nice.
And out of that, I would say 4 of them at least had a puker in the group.
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
People don't like, first of all, you get older and shit doesn't digest as quick. I mean, and so when you have pot and you have alcohol, it just does not combine well unless you're a high school or a college kid.
Yeah.
Like, I think it ends after, as soon as you graduate college, you're done. You can't do it anymore. You can pick one for the day.
Yeah.
I mean, you could smoke pot and have like a beer to relax.
Or you can drink 6 beers and have like a tiny bit of pot.
Yeah.
But multitudes
But not an edible.
Nope.
So here's the thing too, and actually I learned this from Joe Rogan. So I listened to that podcast, like I think 50 million other people in the world. So it's not like I'm special here. Relax, Zombie. By the way, my chihuahua's in this podcast booth. So when you take an edible, apparently I have a meeting in 15 minutes.
I can't wait.
It's not true. So when you take an edible, that THC is actually digested differently than when you smoke pot. And it actually is digested. There's like certain enzymes in that THC in edibles that go through your liver. So guess what? Your liver's also processing all the shit that you're drinking. So if you're having edibles and you're drinking, that's going to fuck you up in a different way.
Something very new.
Well, and again, I'm not a fucking scientist, so like this is
But
not...
I believe you.
But it makes sense when you say it. Like,
say it
when
with authority and I believe you.
I did, and I felt good about it.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to take it back a little bit just because I'm like...
No, but it makes sense. Well, also, the fact that an edible takes an hour and a half to kick in, where if you smoke something, it's like instantaneous.
So you could have had like 6 beers... And then you're like, oh, I feel good. I'm going to take this edible. And then you wait another 15 minutes and you're like, fuck this. This isn't even working. I'm going to have like 6 more beers. And then you're just like, oh, fuck.
So I told Amanda a story before we came out here that I think you were not listening to just because you were with Jackson or whatever. But we have a lot of weed friends in Denver. And
it's a weed town?
Yeah. And one of my really good friends is general manager of a dispensary.
Nice.
And she is a professional. And she has back issues, so she has a medical card.
Why does she even need a medical card?
Because then you can get the strong stuff. So typically an edible is 10 milligrams is a serving, if you will. And she has access to like cookies that are like 200 milligrams. And so for the Game of Thrones finale,
oh boy,
check yourself.
Oh, did you even remember it?
No, I didn't.
You didn't do it.
No,
you didn't partake.
No, she had 400 milligrams for the.
Jesus, how is she doing?
Amazing.
Does she remember it?
That girl can crush.
She's the general manager of a weed business.
Yeah, she can crush. And actually, some of our friends too who are in the weed business talk about taking a tolerance break because the way the THC absorbs into your fat cells, sometimes it's like it gets to be to a point where you need more and more and more. And so they take a tolerance break so that their fat cells
How long do they have to take?
Most that I heard are a couple weeks, maybe a month the most, and then they kind of flush it. But professional level, I would say it probably takes a good, 45 days to kind of flush it out of your system.
Is that like basically getting like virgin lungs again?
Yeah, I think so.
No shit. Because I've often wondered about like alcohol. Right.
So, but alcohol doesn't stay in your system.
It doesn't.
It's 72 hours. You're good to go.
But I have a significantly...
Your liver might disagree.
I have a way better tolerance now than I did when I was in high school.
But I don't know what builds up the tolerance to alcohol. Do you?
Well, here's what I'd like to think. Again, no scientific backing. Is that eventually your liver becomes more efficient at processing the alcohol. You don't think
that's
so?
The most fucked up thing I've ever heard.
You don't think that's right?
No.
Why wouldn't it become more efficient? Your body becomes more efficient at everything that it does often. If you lift heavy things more often, your muscles get bigger so that you're more efficient to lift.
You think my liver is in really great shape.
No. I'm not saying it's in great shape. What I mean is it's learned how to process alcohol more quickly. I'm saying your liver's chugging along like a fucking train that's like, ugh, I can keep doing this. I'm doing better, but I'm not feeling so great.
Huh. I've never thought about
Like a
it.
struggling train. Like what's the children's story?
Thomas?
No, I believe.
Thomas the
I think
Train.
I think I can.
Isn't that Thomas?
No, that's not Thomas. Thomas is a blue fucking dipshit train that doesn't hold a candle to the I think I can.
Who's the I think I can? Does he
I
have
don't
a
know.
name?
It's not Thomas.
The little train that could.
Yeah, that's the little train that could. It ain't Thomas.
I think I can. It's a little. Goddamn Thomas.
Thomas is a bitch.
He is.
Thomas doesn't know shit.
He probably only drinks 18 beers on case day.
What a dumbass. Like that guy. That
Thomas.
guy. Yeah.
Also, if your name is Thomas, I'm sorry, but you're maybe kind of a douchebag.
He probably drinks White Claws.
Hey, don't. Hey, claws are in fashion.
Hey, there's no laws when you're drinking claws.
I agree. I will just say I hated them. And now I am a
fan?
believer.
Oh, shit.
I know.
You did it.
But I'm diabetic. And I've had this
Probably lower sugars.
way lower sugar, and people will say like, "Oh, they're so sweet." No,
Not sweet.
They
No.
use actual real sugar, but in the process of brewing it, because it's a process. It's different. Remember the Zima, if you will,
Yeah,
or
I fucking remember Zima.
malt beverage. It's not a malt.
Smirnoff Ice.
Yeah, it's not a malt beverage. It's an actual brewing process, and a lot of breweries are starting to make the seltzer.
Get her.
And it's a process that goes and it kind of like burns the sugar in it. So not burns, brews something.
Burns it off.
So
Whatever.
that the sugar
It's a common
content
term.
goes down. It still adds some sweet flavor to it without adding the carbohydrates and keeping the sugar. So I can drink 20 to 24 claws, and it's the same amount of carbohydrates as one small piece of cake.
Get the fuck out of here.
Serious.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Jesus.
The one thing is that, so my insulin pump, I have to dial in what I'm eating and what I'm drinking.
Mm-hmm.
And so for like beers, the IPAs, things like that do have a higher carbohydrate content. The claw,
They do, don't they? Yeah.
yeah, the claws trick my body a little bit into thinking that there's carbs in it, and so my blood sugar will kind of go up, but it's a false high, so I have to be a little bit more careful on how I correct.
Okay.
Because I've gotten low from drinking too many claws because my body thinks that I'm taking in.
So there still are some laws when you're drinking claws.
There are the diabetic laws.
There's the diabetic laws for the claws. Mm-hmm. Did you ever see that video though? That ain't no laws when you're drinking claws.
I don't think I've seen the original video. I just know the tagline, and I know that it's like hashtag and
It's fucking incredible. I'll show you.
I will look it up.
No,
Yeah.
I'll show you after we get off this podcast. It made me actually drink White Claws for a couple of weeks. And actually, I talk shit. I don't mind White Claws, especially in the summertime when it's hot outside.
Yeah.
So
I would say there's a couple things. Station makes a seltzer that I really like. It's called Treat Your Seltz. Called Arms is
who's their
another.
marketing person? Who's coming up with these names?
Or
Or is it the brewer?
So the brewer and Justin and Dustin and there's a couple different guys. I don't know who all comes up with the names. I'll have to find out exactly who's coming because some of the names suck. And it's like Tangerine Cream. Really?
I hope you tell them to listen to this podcast
I will.
and they like this part.
Yes.
You guys good with that? She just called you out.
I want there to be a little bit more original. Treat Your Seltz is brilliant. I love it.
It is. That's a good one.
Tangerine Cream, it just basically describes what you're drinking. Don't tell me what I'm drinking. Give me a little.
But you got to keep with the theme. If you're going to have a clever name,
Yes.
for
They
one,
all have to have a clever
you got to
name.
have all clever
Juicy
names.
Banger, clever. It's awesome. It's cute.
It's filthy.
It's filthy. I love it. But then there's like,
It's not like Uncanny, though.
no, fair enough. But then there's also like American Copper. Okay, well,
So they got real clever with some, and then some they were just like, you know what, fuck it.
we're too tired.
Yeah, that's it. Just launch it.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes. So that's my own. I love Station. I love all of their beers. Their naming conventions are sometimes brilliant and other times very lazy.
Like, give it an extra day, guys. If
Yeah.
creativity's not striking, like,
Yes.
you just hold out for a little bit.
Called Arms in Denver also has a seltzer that they call La Clawsuit.
Oh shit!
So
they're
it's like,
calling it out. They're like prepared for it.
well, it's like LaCroix and Claw, and yeah, it's very clever.
I love it. I love it.
They have some really good ones. They also have like something about Putin and riding horseback naked on a Putin.
I think
horse.
that actually made national news on a couple of sites.
Yes.
Because I think I saw that beer.
Yeah.
They should have charged just like $100 for that beer.
It's fun. It's a fun brewery. There's a lot of fun ones in Denver.
Yeah. Well, Denver's probably like the third best beer scene in America.
That's probably fair.
It's like Portland and San Diego, I think, go back and forth.
Yeah.
Between like the best, like the most good breweries. Like craft breweries, you know.
I'm going to also give a shout out to Minnesota.
You know, I think everyone's coming out with, that's like the best part about this whole beer revolution is you can't go anywhere now without having a good brewery in it. If your town doesn't have a good brewery, then you don't deserve to be on the map.
That's fair. I would say in Minnesota,
like Google Maps, what
Minnesota brings to the table is that it's a very beer drinking demographic. So it's not super hipster. It's not cutting edge, but it's like it comes from the deep roots of like we drink beer.
Fucking drink beer.
Yes.
We're not drinking beer to have a curly mustache and to have a pinky up in a little goblet glass. I'm fucking drinking a pint.
Yes.
Get out of my fucking way.
So I will tell a really quick Minnesota story that kind of level sets what the level of drinking and beer drinking and just like shenanigans happen in Minnesota. Oh, I get the accent when I say it, but
I love it. No, it's awesome.
So back in the day when I was 22, 23, I was working at a bank. First National Bank of Pine City.
So you didn't always work for a chocolate company?
No. And we had what was called Secretary's Day.
Oh, that still exists.
Yeah, but they call it Administrative Assistant Day now.
It
was called legit Secretary's Day.
Sure.
And the only people who worked in the office were women other than the officers of the bank. There were 4 men officers, and every teller, every loan secretary, every you know what, we were all women. And so, like, the second week in April was a real big day.
Okay.
Because it's Secretary's Day.
It's game time.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And I got to get in with the Cool Kid Club on the good group, because each of the 4 officers brought a group out for lunch.
Oh, and I'm big time.
Yes. And so I got to go with Dick Kuzel, who was the beast. And yes.
Is he a good guy?
The best.
Okay.
The best guy.
Because I really want to make fun of his name.
No, you can, because he doesn't give a fuck.
That's a fantastic name.
He's the guy who mowed his yard on a riding lawnmower and paid the neighbor kid to come running out and bring him a beer whenever he raised his hand. Like the kid next door.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He would mow his own yard, but he paid the kid to bring him beer as he was mowing yard. And my friend
just threw the flag up?
Yeah. Like my friend Alana, who was his daughter, I went to high school kind of with her, she would leave out beer and cookies for Santa instead of milk and cookies, and it was always Blatz Light.
That sounds awful.
It is awful.
Yeah.
And so Secretary's Day, I got to go in the Cool Kid Club with Dick Kuzel.
Dick Kuzel, which sounds like a male banana hammock.
Who had a case of Blatz Light in his trunk on our way to lunch.
Okay.
We had roadies.
You had roadies with your boss, your bank boss.
Yeah.
Which presumably, I mean, these are very serious people.
Yeah. Well, we also had a fridge in the basement of the bank that had beer and wine coolers in it at all times.
That was a different time.
And it was the 90s.
You can't have that in a fucking bank these days.
It was the 90s.
You can't have that in a fucking... unless you're a tech startup.
So we road tripped to Wisconsin from a little town. Pine City was where we lived at the time, Minnesota, which is about 20 miles to the Wisconsin border. And we literally had roadies in the car with us, with our boss, as we drove to Wisconsin. Then we got to Wisconsin and had drinks at lunch before and he was like, we'll take another round before we order our lunch.
And took care of you guys.
Oh, yeah. Then we road tripped it on back to Rock Creek, Minnesota.
I'm assuming everyone was drinking.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is...
and
before DUIs were a big deal, or what?
They just... overlooked certain things.
If it was a white man wearing a tie, he was fine.
Yes. And we went to like the Cricket in Rock Creek, Minnesota, which is a little awesome bar that I love so much that this is the bar where I went so many times before I turned 21 that when I turned 21, I was like, I need to take a break because I don't realize that I just finally turned 21.
Like, hey, hang on a second.
But
I know you.
Yeah, for Secretary's Day, it was about an 8-hour lunch.
Jesus.
We left around 11:30 in the morning, and we got...
So you just never went back?
No.
Was anyone working at the bank?
Well, that's why we went in 4 shifts. We had 4 officers.
I see. I got you.
So we each took our turn. We had like a whole week of Secretary's Day.
Wow, they took it seriously.
It was amazing.
They took the beer seriously, too.
Yes. And at one point, one of the women I worked with, she was a little older. She was drinking straight cream de menthe.
What the... Wait.
The green stuff.
The fucking green stuff. That's just like... That's like liquor and sugar.
Yeah, but our boss realized that her teeth were so green that he told the bartender to switch over to the clear cream de menthe. Don't cut it off.
Don't bring any water.
Just switch over to the clear.
Maybe just switch some water for a little bit, Just swish it around.
Yes. So
but they didn't drink water back then either.
No.
That wasn't an option.
That wasn't a real thing.
No. You drink beer for your water. Mm-hmm. If you were drinking, you were actually having hard alcohol.
Yes.
Like beer was just like, breakfast.
Blatz Light.
You gotta have some Blatz. Yeah, Blatz sounds like the noise that you're gonna make when you barf.
Oh, yeah.
Like Blat, it literally sounds like, I have too many Blats, I'm gonna have Blat. Like, it's just...
Yeah, that's fair. It just was one of those, like, it's cheap.
Sure.
Shitty beer. Pfeiffer, Kingsbury was another one.
What the fuck? Is this all Canadian beer?
No. Actually, I have a question. Do you know what Windsor is? Like
the city?
No, like there's alcohol.
There's a Caesars in Windsor.
No, Windsor, like a Windsor Coke or a Windsor. It's a whiskey. It's very popular. It's Canadian Windsor.
I know Canadian Club.
Nope, this is Windsor.
Okay.
Minnesota is Windsor.
Is that still around?
Yeah. People pound it back in Minnesota.
It sounds like people in Minnesota pound everything.
Yeah.
It's just, but okay, let me just say this, because this surprised me, and I don't know where Minnesota fell on the list, but I saw a list of a ranking of the 50 states and how many drinks they take to get drunk. So I thought this was incredible. What a great
Minnesota
study.
has to be really high up there.
Okay, so we can refer back because I actually posted it on the Instagram of this page. Like and follow Beer Freaks.
Hey.
No, but I did. I posted it on
Hashtag 20% off.
Yeah. I don't think they can pay for anything. Actually, you can't follow me on Patreon. But I don't have any patrons yet. But if you go there to that link, you can see there is a list of all 50 states ranked based on the number of drinks that it takes. It's self-reported, right?
Sure.
So that's the survey's already got some fucking issues. But it's how many drinks does it take you to get drunk? And I would have thought like fucking South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, like all the northern states, because what else are you fucking doing up there?
Wisconsin feels like it should be number 1.
Yeah.
What was?
It was not those. In fact, I think the Dakotas were on the bottom. They were like an average of like 3 drinks to get drunk.
Okay. Self-reported.
Self-reported doesn't help. Does not help.
But also...
Like maybe it's like a small town where like, I don't want Johnny down the road to know that it takes me like 17 drinks to get drunk.
Yeah, or is it that they're like... I mean, I went and I had 2, but they really had 10.
It could be. It could be self-delusion. It could be, trying to save face. But
so
it shocked me. Number 1 was... Number 2 was Michigan. Number 1 was fucking Arizona. But I think that state is skewed by colleges.
Yeah, ASU really...
And U of A.
U of A, yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
Is that where you went, U of A?
Actually, NAU. Which you don't even know what that means. You don't know what that means.
National...
I mostly just claimed my master's degree, which was...
Arizona University.
Close. I mostly just claimed my master's degree because that's the one that people know, is USC.
You should.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. But every time I say NAU,
and you just
Northern...
you literally just dropped that, like, my master's degree.
By the way,
I'm a big
smarter than everybody here. I'm a Trojan. Suck my balls. No. Stop it. All right. Well, see, and this is why we didn't do the video podcast. No, I went to Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Is it?
And it was a great fucking
class
4 years.
Of like 600 people?
No, actually, it was like 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a small school.
Hey, you had fun?
I had a fucking blast because Flagstaff. Have you been to Flagstaff before?
Mm-hmm.
You should go.
So I'm pretty well traveled, but not in the U.S.
Oh shit! Now who's fucking showing off?
No,
Look at that.
No, this is literally
like the master's degree statement all over again.
Damn it, I'm a douche. No, I
only go to Europe when I travel. I'm sorry, south of France.
Hold on, there's a reason behind this a little bit. When I was a kid, my dad had like a secret life.
Oh, you've told me a little bit about this.
And so because of his secret life, he took my mom on very extravagant vacations. So we went to cool places when I was a kid, and that's what I grew up thinking was the norm. Also at General Mills, the norm was people would be like, fun facts about me, I've been to 71 countries. And so I had this like weird kind of measurement on what travel. I went to school to be a travel agent also, by the way. Like that was my first career, I was a travel agent.
Yeah.
So when I look at trips or I look at like traveling to places, we never took a road trip. We never like went camping in the, what do you call them? The South Dakota. What's
Catskills?
No, South Dakota.
I don't know.
We never went to like Mount Rushmore or like Yellowstone National Park. We went to Mexico or we went to Hawaii is in the United States. I get that. But like we went to like kind of a little bit more exotic places to appease my mom because she had a love for travel. And so when I became an adult, then I was like, oh no. What? You want to go to Mexico? I'm like, no, we're going to go to the Philippines.
Oh, so you one-upped. You were one-upping.
I just wanted to go to the most...
next level.
I want to go to like the most obscure places that you could think of.
Sure.
So when I look at flights and travel, I have like flight alerts right now set up for Buenos Aires or for Santiago, Chile. Like that's just how I think.
You go see Machu Picchu? Like that would be kick-ass.
Yeah, I'm more so... I want to go to Argentina for the cheap red meat and wine.
Oh, yeah. Well, they do meat well down there.
Yeah. And Patagonia, Chile, the mountains. I mean, just...
Chile.
Go to...
Say it right, though. Chile.
What's the Iguaza Falls
I have
in
no
Uruguay?
idea. That's the extent of my knowledge of Chile. Chile.
So
my computer overheating right now.
I went to Arizona recently for work, and that's the first time I've ever been to Arizona.
This is the first time you've been to Arizona?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've been to Vegas so many times. Like,
it's the same.
It's basically the exact same thing.
Yes.
It's just a different shade of yellow.
It's real fucking hot.
Actually, Phoenix is even fucking hotter than Vegas.
Yeah.
That's why, like, when you mentioned Phoenix or Arizona earlier...
I would move there, whatever.
You'd move there? Don't fucking move there. No, it's worse. It's worse.
But here's the thing. People say, like, oh, Minnesota's worse. Guess what? You don't have to go outside in January. There's tunnels. There's
Yeah, but winter's different. Like, there's become a culture around wintertime where it's like, ooh, let's all get all cuddled up or on the couch and drink hot cocoa and watch movies. That's nice because people have created this culture of like that being cool. But you know what fucking sucks?
Being hot.
Yeah, you're damn right. Because when you're getting into summer, when it's like late spring and you see all these commercials on TV that are like, summer's almost here, and you see people running around on the beach, having fun, outside, enjoying themselves, and you're in Las Vegas and you're like, summer's almost here, fucking time for air conditioning, time for my $400 energy bill, time for me to never leave the house.
I got real pissed a couple weeks ago when I was here and I was hearing everyone say, oh, what a beautiful fall day. It's so gorgeous. Oh, it was 97 fucking degrees.
That is a nice lukewarm day in Las Vegas.
That's horrible.
Yeah, no shit. But we've all become accustomed to it because we're desert idiots. Someone fucking decided to create a city here, and we all were dumb enough to say, yeah, sure, we'll come.
That's why I want to move to, like, Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle, I'm in favor of. Except, like, I'm pretty sure half the city is owned by Amazon now.
Fair, I know.
So you'll have Alexa listening to you 100% of the time.
I just want to move somewhere that it's, like, temperate and a little chilly.
Like Portland.
Portland would be great as well. Seattle has a Delta hub.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you're not far. Well, it's far enough to make it.
Portland is not enough commerce. Portland is a little too hipster.
Yeah, it's very hipster. My wife likes to make fun of Portland because she says she can't tell the difference between the hipsters and the bums.
Yeah.
You literally can't.
Is that flannel that you're wearing like a vintage, like super expensive Patagonia? Or is it an actual like... something you just got out of
Patagonia from the 90s that you found in the dumpster?
Yeah.
Not to make fun of fucking people who are homeless. Just look at the PC world that we're living in.
I know. So there's times where I'm like, do you watch old TV shows ever?
Seinfeld, 100% of my days.
Do you ever look at it and go like, whoa?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, my God.
You want to talk about unwoke?
Yeah. Well, but I think that's why our culture needs to figure out a way where like we can say like, yeah, all right. It's like that's grandpa. That's
yes.
Like we gotta have a path to be able to say like, shit. The culture is changing faster now than it was before. So now it's not grandpa. It's actually dad.
Yeah.
Like dad still says this shit.
So there's
like
also
what kind of shit am I saying right now that's racist or un-PC?
I can't think of an example because I don't think of you as offensive or un-PC.
But there's a very good chance in 10 years there's something that I'm saying right now.
That's fair. I would say I was listening to the radio this morning and they were saying something where it was, I know what it was. It was a guy and a girl got engaged and the girl said to the guy, okay, now that we're engaged, you need to unfollow all of your exes, block them all, get rid of their numbers, do everything. And the advice was, this guy should not be like, and one of the radio DJs said, it was a direct quote was, I feel like he is going to be carrying her purse around at all times. What they meant was that she was in control.
Yeah.
But to me, it was like an offensive term. It's
meant to be.
Of like, nobody's going to carry my fucking purse around. And it's offensive to even say that, like, I have this purse that somebody needs to carry, or like his balls are in my purse.
Right. Which was the intention. The masculinity thing is gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like, no. How about like, she is wrong. I definitely don't agree with what she's saying.
You shouldn't do that. That's weird.
That is weird, and that's her own insecurities.
That's definitely.
And that should be addressed more as, hey, she has some insecurity issues that you might want to talk about, or like, have you done something to be untrustworthy? But more so, it's like, is there an insecurity issue? How do you talk about it? But it was all about like, oh, you can't put your balls in her purse and let you.
They didn't even address the root of the issue. They're just like, no, you're a bitch.
Yes.
Yeah, you're her bitch now.
Yeah.
Because that's the bigger story.
Yes.
That's the easier story to talk about.
And I didn't mean to get all political about it in my head, but I was like, how? But it was also a country radio station. Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit more of that clientele listening.
Sure.
Who wants to hear that.
Well, and that's... So here's the thing about PC that I truly believe at this point, which is like... You can fight back against language. You can try to restrict language. Mm-hmm. But really what matters the most is the context that it's put in.
Yes.
So like... I could stop saying derogatory terms. I don't actually say derogatory terms,
but
like
it's not going to change.
But if I was a hateful person, then I could stop saying derogatory terms, and I could create a new term that me and my derogatory buddies would then use. And it's like, okay, so the term doesn't matter.
No.
It's the context and the meaning behind.
I agree.
So, like, and I just want to throw this in real quick because this is something that I'm really passionate about, which is like the fucking Berkeley, California laws that got passed. Did you hear about that?
I don't know, maybe.
Where it was like, so I think the Berkeley City Council passed some laws that said that, like, within their city or state employees and their documentation, they could no longer use certain terms. And I think there were like 70 that were identified. And they all had the word man in them in one way or another. So let me give you a couple of examples because I think that this is really interesting. So I only remember two distinctly, but there are two that I think make a lot of sense. The first one was manpower, which I look at that term and I think, really? That's not that big of a deal. I could kind of understand, like, well, what about woman power? Like, but okay, I think we all fucking understand what the term manpower means.
Yes.
Like, let's get some manpower behind this. Like,
it's excessive.
It's a little weird.
Yes.
But I think that was one of the better ones.
Okay.
Now let me tell you the worst one. The worst one was manhole. Do you know what a manhole is?
Yeah.
It's a fucking sewer cover.
Yeah.
So
I don't want to be a she cover or a woman cover. No, it's disgusting. You can have that one. It's all yours.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yes.
Yes. I would. I don't even want to keep this one.
No, you keep it.
Apparently, no. It's now a sewer cover.
Which I get the vernacular has been derived from a shortened version of human or it's also based on men. I get the origin of it and the fact that it's not an inclusive term.
Sure.
Here's an example for you that I think is a positive example of being overly sensitive or changing in the vernacular is instead of calling someone a prostitute, calling them a sex worker.
Okay.
Are you familiar with this?
I have heard the term sex worker significantly more often, but I didn't really pay attention.
So it's a complete culture shift where people are no longer saying they were a prostitute or they were something that's a little bit more derogatory, and they're trying to change it into be a little bit. Do you know who Jonathan Van Ness is?
No. I don't think I do.
Queer Eye.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know which one it is. Was that derogatory?
No.
Okay. Because I said, like, which one?
No, because he's more of a non-binary and he has long hair and dresses.
The blonde one?
No, he has long dark hair and dresses in a lot of dresses, and he wears a lot of female oriented clothing, but he is biologically a man, but kind of goes a little bit more non-binary, but he prefers he pronouns. Okay. Which is a cultural shift as well. Sure. Just talking about what is your preferred pronoun. Yeah. It's that's a huge thing for all of us to kind of process and become more aware of. And recently my sister and my younger daughter Valerie, we had to talk about they or them and how that's a big shift in your talking. When you see that person and you look at that person and you go, that's a boy, and you say he, but in reality they prefer a she pronoun. Or that's a she and they prefer they. Yeah. Yeah. And so I had a hard time with the they, them. I think we all do. It's just a shift. Right. But when my sister and Valerie gave me the explanation of, let's just say that you forgot your phone somewhere. Yeah. You forgot your phone, and I don't know whose phone it is. So there's a phone sitting on the table. And what do you say to me? Someone forgot their phone. Sure. And you say, oh, they might come back and get it. Yeah. You don't know. Yeah, you don't say he will probably be back or she will be back. You'll say they. Right. And so that's where I think that the manhole and the manpower are trying to get us to that place. It just feels really awkward as we're getting there. Yeah, does that make sense? It does. It feels clunky. It feels really clunky. And it feels unnecessary. I guess, fair enough. But I guess the counterpoint would be, we're moving into a world that feels less personal every day. Mm-hmm.
We have more technology. We're moving into social bubbles. We're moving into echo chambers. We're moving into a lot of different things where we see fewer and fewer outside opinions. And so the idea that I can't look at someone who I can, and again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just saying, like, I can look at someone and I say, that's clearly a man or that's clearly a woman. And I'm just having a conversation with you. I'm trying to start a conversation, let's say. Like, hey, buddy, or whatever.
Yo, bitch.
Yo, bitch. I don't know. I was trying to think of a female. I was like, hey, lady. Like, that's also kind of awkward. But, okay, so maybe a woman would say something to a female and a...
Hey, sister. Or girlfriend, what's up?
So I guess what my point is that, like, if... And I can't say this because, again, I am a white male who is... privileged, and I know that, and I'm actually not even making fun of that because that's true. I know that for a fact. But, like, I guess if I was someone who was stretching the boundaries of what we know as a society culturally, like he, she, we know this is something that we've had for thousands of years. If I was like, you know what, I don't really want to subscribe to one of those things. If someone said to me, like, hey, buddy, and I was like, well, I actually identify as a female, like, I wouldn't be pissed. Right? Would, like, I'd be like, hey, you know, thanks for talking to me and having this conversation. Just by the way, I actually identify as a female. And then that person can have a chance to respond and say, like, well, fuck you because I think you're fucking crazy. Or they could say, oh, right on. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you.
Most people react in the latter of, like, I did not mean to offend you. And it's my older daughter works with a non-binary coworker, and their appearance looks more feminine, but they prefer to go by them. But it's really easy to slip into the she. Right. And so Elena has caught herself a lot of times, like, I am trying really hard. And they really have responded to, like, I just appreciate you trying. Yeah. I know it's an adjustment. I know it's a shift in your thinking. And we'll get there. Right. It's still so new.
I think as long as we're all in this together, that's the thing.
Oh my gosh. You just made like a High School Musical reference.
Oh my God. I'm so sad that you know that. Oh my God.
Really
I
quick,
watched that movie once.
We cracked another beer, and I have to give a shout out to this.
Yeah. Here we go.
This is my favorite, like, kick back to Minnesota. Let me just be clear.
These are the guys. Was this your favorite brewery in Minnesota?
Yes and no. No, from the stance of, like, there's a lot of little breweries that I like more, and there's a lot of beers I like more. But if I think of, like, how I can get a Minnesota beer outside of Minnesota that brings me back home, it is Surly Xtra Citra, and it is so good.
Let's see this.
It's like it's a very citrus forward, hoppy pale ale.
It is. Well, cheers.
Cheers. Very drinkable. It's not that super hoppy. Like, I know you like, but
it's not. Well, so I do, but I also, like, you can't have like 4 of those in a row. It'll just hammer you. Yeah. It'll hammer you.
Yes.
So this is an interesting. So Surly Brewing Co. 4.5%, which is, you know, not bad to throw one of those bad. It's like having the water.
It's very drinkable. We're washing down our heavy 7.4s.
We're washing down our creme de menthe, washing our teeth off. No, I kid. 4.5 is not bad though. It's
great.
We've all been spoiled by like the 7%ers, where you have a couple of those and you're like, ooh. Ooh.
I really like the lighter.
Do you like what do they call them? Session ales. Because like those are meant to be like daytime, like you just pound those back.
Yeah, I would say I like beer.
Yeah.
But
me too.
Our refrigerator at home.
Welcome to my podcast.
Our refrigerator at home is 90% Coors Light.
Like is that Kenny's? Is that yours?
I'll drink that. I'll drink Coors Light all day.
You know, actually, I don't mind Coors Light.
No.
I don't mind Coors Light.
I call it the Switzerland of beers. So the reason why I say that is, you don't know about this beer, I don't think, but have you ever heard of Michelob Golden Draft Light?
Absolutely not, and I hope I never do.
So Golden Draft Light is a beer that you can only buy in like Minnesota, part of Wisconsin, part of Iowa.
You know, Oren's a big Milk Ultra guy.
That's different. That's Mick Ultra. This is Michelob Golden Draft Light, and they're
A lot of words.
It's crinkly. The bottles are crinkly. The cans are crinkly. It's a specific beer that they only distribute in this like regional area of Minnesota, and I think that like the market share is like 70% or something of light beers is Michelob Golden Draft Light. And then there's
in this one section.
Yep, and then there's Miller Lite and Bud Light. So of the light beer drinkers, we have Miller Lite, Bud Light, Michelob Golden Draft Light.
Okay.
And if you drink Miller Lite, you do not drink either of the other two. If you drink Golden Draft Light, you do not drink the.
It's like being a Ford or a Chevy guy.
Correct, except for you can be any one of those three drinkers, and you drink Coors Light.
Oh, that's like the wild card.
It's the Switzerland of beer.
It's the Joker.
Yes. If you could be a Bud Light drinker. I don't know.
Why is
But it's the only one that everyone will agree on and drink. And if you have a party and you have a bunch of coolers at your house, whatever, you label them. If you don't have, say you only pick 2 light beers,
Jesus.
the Coors Light is the one that everybody can agree upon.
Really? Mm-hmm. It's the common denominator.
Yeah, we used to have a kegerator at our house.
Oh, I want a kegerator.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
I know, but fuck, I don't know.
It's a lot of work.
Actually, you know what? It wouldn't make sense for this anyway because I want more variety.
Yes. It's a lot of work.
But it would be nice to have like a base, like something good that I know I can go to and not like nights that I don't have a podcast that I do want to drink beer on.
Ooh.
I'm not going to go out like a chump. My whole point of starting this podcast was just to get enough fucking free beer that I never had to buy anymore.
That's perfect.
Right? That's the whole purpose. I'm just kidding, folks. I'm not.
I would say in general, the amount of troubles that we had the kegerator as far as like cleaning the lines or getting the CO2 or you run out of a keg and you don't want to have to replace or you don't have a backup keg and it's not cold and that kind of stuff. It's like, just go buy some fucking beer.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know.
We have a dedicated beer fridge in our house.
We got one of those. That sold me on the house.
Your refrigerator is bigger than any refrigerator I've ever seen in a house.
Yeah, but it's a gigantic refrigerator, which, by the way, when we have to fucking replace that thing, I think we're just going to move.
I think that's a good idea. I do. I think it's smart.
So whoever's listening, don't buy this house because you're going to get a bad refrigerator. But we do, so that we have a little beer fridge, and it was funny because like actually it was a selling point for my wife too because she was like, I'm tired of fucking seeing beer in the main fridge. Like when I look in the fridge, I want to see like food. I don't want to see like a 6-pack. And I'm like, it's not that big of a deal.
So we bought like a wine fridge, beer fridge.
Yeah.
It's one of those little like 2 feet tall. It has a clear door on it. It has lights in it.
Same thing?
Yeah, and it has like shelves in it, and then above it we bought a shelf, and then above that is a wine rack. So we put it in the entryway of our house in Denver.
Oh, you just have like people walk right in and they're like, look at this beast.
Welcome to the Johnsons.
Fuck, the Johnsons hang. The Johnsons hang. Yeah, well done. So, we're at almost an hour and 40 minutes.
Oh boy.
Which is awesome. And
but
I think
aggressive.
We talked a lot about the beer.
Yes.
Which is actually the more fun part. But I think the bird thing is really interesting.
I think that I've unpacked a few things with the birds recently with understanding my need for control and understanding the childhood.
Did you unpack it on this podcast? I feel like we got a little deeper.
Yeah, I unpacked it a little bit before that because I really did think a lot about this before I came. I wanted to make sure that I was prepared to really understand what I was afraid of and what I wasn't afraid of and why. Because I think that's a bigger thing with your podcast specifically when you talk about fears. You can be afraid of anything, but if you don't know why you're afraid of it, then is it really a fear or like what are you talking about? So that was my process for coming into it, is that I understood my fear.
But I think But I think the other part of it too, and this obviously this podcast is evolving because I don't think I've done anything to help any of the fears of my guests. It really wasn't the intention either, by the way. I just like to write short horror stories.
Yeah.
You know, a couple pages, whatever, which are also on my website, beerfreaks.com. No, actually, that was the wrong URL too. It's beerfreakspod.com.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's on there.
Noted.
All of my short stories that I'm proud of, the ones that I'm not proud of didn't make it, but the ones that I like are on there. And actually, well, this is one of the reasons why I like talking about this, is because I like to see and understand a little bit of the weird things that happen in the minds of other people. Because this is a perfect example. I have no idea why you're afraid of birds. I don't really get that. Like, you know, when my buddy Derek came on and he talked about his fear of the dark, fuck, dude, like that shit fucks me up. Ever since I was young, horror films or anything will basically give me 2 months of the inability to walk down dark halls.
Huh.
And I love horror films. It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense.
It's also
counterintuitive.
No, it's not, because it's stimulating. It's something that causes adrenaline, and adrenaline is a good thing.
It is. I think
lots of times fear is adrenaline driven, and so why do you go on a like a roller coaster ride?
Sure.
It's adrenaline.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. But the difference is the roller coaster, you get off 2 minutes later.
Yeah.
And you're done with it.
Yeah.
And you feel better. Horror films fuck me up for weeks. If it's a good one. If it's a good one. I would say, so let me actually circle back. There are literally like 3 horror films that have fucked me up. And one of them was recent. Did we talk about the Hereditary one?
I heard you talk about it, but I try to block things out like that because.
Do you watch horror films?
No.
You don't?
No.
Maybe that's why you're not afraid of the dark.
I don't want to. When I watch something, I do it for escape.
Yeah.
And I do it
That's an escape.
Ugh.
It's a different kind, though.
I don't want to be scared, but I'm not afraid of horror films. I just don't like that creepy. I also don't think that they scare me that much.
Well, I think you've watched the wrong horror films.
Yeah. Name a horror film that scared you recently.
Okay, so literally the horror film that fucked me up was Hereditary. And Hereditary surprised me because Isn't
it just some kids who are like stuck at their like wrong grandparents' house?
No.
Oh, that's a different one.
That's a different one. That was the M. Night Shyamalan one. There have been some decent horror films lately. So like M. Night Shyamalan, I forget what that one was called. But then like Jordan Peele, some of his stuff, like Us.
Mm-hmm.
That was weird. It didn't freak me out for long. But you know what really freaks me out though is like, I think the inhuman human movements, like when humans don't move like humans, that freaks me out. That looks weird, and that'll haunt me for a while. Hereditary had a little bit of that.
Us was not scary.
That didn't scare you? Which one was... Us was... Yeah. Okay, so just literally you making that noise creeped me out a little bit. Like, I think... No, my hair's not standing, but it did give me a little tingle.
It's silly.
I think it's how... Okay, so when you watched Us...
Yeah.
Put me in... were you at your house? Were you in the movie theater?
I watched it twice. One on the plane and one at my house.
Okay, see, this is the shit. This is the problem. See, now I'm mad. I'm not mad, but... So... I told my wife about Hereditary because I had watched it alone. She was actually on a business trip, and my son was up in bed, so I was in the house all by myself, which already it didn't help the whole thing. My wife is also way more badass than I am, so I already kind of knew she probably was not going to have the same reaction as me. But I told her to watch it. I was like, one of these nights, just watch it, and I'm pretty sure it's going to freak you out a little bit. And then she comes back from her business trip and she's like, I watched it on the flight back. And I'm like, no, come on. You can't watch it on the plane. That's like, it's bright I mean, even if it is dark, if everyone's got their windows closed, you're surrounded by all these fucking people. Like, it's a totally different...
I actually get more emotional on planes when I'm watching movies than I do at home. Yeah.
Really?
Because the altitude, it makes me cry. I watched Soul Surfer. Was that the one with the girl who lost her arm? I cried the whole time. It was a horrible movie, but I still cried. Because I think the altitude makes me more emotional.
I don't know if it's the altitude or maybe the two beers that you had before. I don't know. But yeah, so what was the movie with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper?
Oh, in the shaft.
Oh my God.
A Star is Born.
A Star is Born. I shit you not. I think my wife thought I was weird for a little bit because I watched that movie like 4 times in a month. I was like, I'm obsessed with this movie.
So good.
Because Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga were so good in it, and I cried every fucking time. But most of the time, I was actually up in the air because I happened to be traveling a lot during that time.
And it's very emotional. It's way more emotional in the air. And also, you can't
I don't know that to be true.
Also, you can't be on your phone in the air. So at home, if I'm watching it at home, sometimes I'm on my phone, or sometimes there's a distraction.
Yes.
I pause it to go to the bathroom. Guess what? I don't pee on planes.
You can avoid it?
Yeah.
Well, you take short flights, though.
Well, but even on like a long flight, I would say that
you peed on the way to Africa.
Yeah. I can make it.
You had to.
I know, but I only had to pee like twice in like the 16 hours.
Yeah, but like to Denver to Vegas, yeah, you don't have to pee. I mean, you got to pee in that flight. There's something wrong.
And people
Unless you're knocking back.
People do.
On your way to work.
They get on, and they get on the plane, and 5 minutes later they have to go to the bathroom. It's annoying.
Like before you even take off.
Yes.
Like the people who are like, oh, sorry. Like, all right, fine.
Yeah, pee before you go. So I will try to watch Hereditary, but I can't guarantee that I'm going to be afraid.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not saying because it is an abstract one. Like some people are afraid of vampire movies. Vampire movies don't scare me. I'm so used to the vampire trope, it doesn't scare me. Zombie movies. Zombie movies don't scare me.
No.
I think they're actually more like I like watching zombie movies. They're just fun.
Yeah.
They're, like, what's your take on zombies? Are they fast? Are they slow? Are they dying? Do they have thoughts? Like, what's there's a lot of fun different ways that you can take a zombie movie. It's more just fun. Like, what's your interpretation? I think it's ghost movies that fuck me up the most. And actually,
are you afraid of ghosts?
Yes, totally. But I don't believe they exist. But for some reason, there's and actually, let's go back because I said that there were 3 movies that have fucked me up.
Yeah.
And actually, when I think about it, the 3 movies that fucked me up are all ghost based. Hereditary,
Ghost,
which actually isn't ghost based, but it had like a weird fucking. It's like demon ghosts.
Okay,
like so demons and ghosts are kind of like interchangeable in the way that they're used in movies.
Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore, Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah. That fucking scene with the clay that was terrifying.
Yeah, when
I think back.
No, your other 2 are.
So it's Hereditary. It's The Shining. The 1970s,
yeah.
Not the 90s, obviously.
But that's mental illness. That's not ghosts.
Well, no, it's actually alcoholism. And
I still would argue mental illness medicated by alcohol.
Yeah, they made him crazy. They made him crazy right off the bat, but I always interpreted it as craziness driven by alcoholism.
Oh, I took it the opposite completely.
So you think alcoholism or alcohol fueled an already crazy man?
No, I think he was crazy and he was trying to medicate with alcohol.
So he's trying to help it?
Yeah. He was trying to control his craziness by numbing it with alcohol.
It could be.
I never thought.
However, I think that's the right interpretation when you're looking through the eyes of Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Not Jack Nicklaus.
Papa Bear.
That happens way too often.
I know.
But regardless, whether or not what he was seeing was true or not, there were ghosts that he was seeing, and he had been there. You've always been the caretaker.
Yeah.
And I've always been
That's
the butler.
That's an amazing movie. It's a
great movie. It's so good.
What's your third? Because they're not at all alike.
Well, you don't know. You haven't seen Hereditary.
Well, I can guess.
It's not really alike, but there are themes.
Okay.
The third one, and this will actually be surprising because I think most people don't think of it as that scary of a movie, but it's The Sixth Sense.
Oh.
That movie, so I was 11 years old.
Oh.
And my parents and I went to the movie theater and we saw it. And, I did not sleep that night.
Oh.
I was so terrified. And that was definitely Ghosts. Like, that's Ghosts for sure.
That's Ghosts.
So that's Ghosts. Hereditary's like demon ghosts. And then...
But he was helping the ghosts.
Yeah, but the ghosts weren't nice.
But he helped him. This is my Pollyanna. This is how I am. I look at
they weren't nice ghosts.
I look at The Sixth Sense as like, oh, this poor little boy, he helps everyone.
Yeah, you could look at it that way, but you also had a ghost who was chasing him down the hallway with a knife.
But that ghost wanted help. And
Ghost
he helped him.
Wanted to hurt him.
No, it did not.
Did. Just chase him with a knife.
It did not. It wanted help. It wanted to go into the... So I have a friend who she talks to the dead. And she has a lot of spiritual...
Do you think she does?
But the bigger thing is that she grew up in a mortuary. Funeral home.
Jesus Christ.
And
if I did that, I would be dead right now. I would have had a heart attack.
But she also... she likes to go to bars and she smokes and drinks and goes to bars.
Smokes what?
Just cigarettes. But...
Not meth. That's good.
No, but her kind of explanation is that typically when spirits have a harder time going to the next level or wherever they need to go, this is her words, not mine.
Sure.
Is that as they're trying to pass into another life, they get stuck in a little bit of like a limbo, and typically they go to people who have that lifestyle of drinking and smoking, and that they're more open to accepting communication. And so she helps them get to the other side.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I am fucking motherfucking Pollyanna. I have a positive spin for anything.
I can see that.
I can find a way.
I don't know. So you're right. If you look at have you ever seen like when people on YouTube will take like a movie preview and change the music in the background?
I love it.
All of a sudden, it can go from a horror film to like a love story.
Yes.
Or like a love story to like a comedy.
That's me.
Like, those are hilarious.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it clearly, a lot of the shit is like, what is The Sixth Sense trying to make me feel? And I think I just, as an 11-year-old, I followed everything that they were trying to.
Lens.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so
you saw
I was
with
terrified.
11-year-old eyes.
I was like, I saw, because you see this vivid imagery of people, of ghosts hanging from nooses, a ghost who had cut themselves, a ghost who was throwing up because they were eating these pills that their mom forced them. Like, that shit fucked an 11-year-old up.
Yeah.
Versus maybe someone who has a bit more of a better view on life at that point. They're like, well, you know what? Maybe these people just need help.
Yeah.
I can help you.
Yeah.
I can save them.
Oh my gosh, he really did.
I can save them.
I'm such a Pollyanna. All right, dude, I have talked so much.
Yeah. Well, it was amazing.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate you coming by, because you're only down here all the time.
Our buddy, in the words of Jason, why are you here all the time? I can't help it.
Is he going to kick you out?
No.
Right.
He loves me.
Okay. Well, we should probably wrap this up because it's going on 2 hours. But
my God, nobody's going to listen because it's so long.
I don't know. Some people are bored.
I hope so.
I hope a lot of people are bored.
You're the best. Thank you so much for having me.
Nope.
This is way more fun than I ever even imagined.
Thank you.
I was nervous that it wasn't going to be entertaining. I don't care if it is to everybody else, but it was to me.
Well, that's really the entire purpose. Fuck everyone if they don't enjoy it. So here's the only thing. Homework.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be on again.
Awesome. I get to come back?
You have to. No, I'm going to force you to.
Okay.
This isn't like a privilege. You have to.
I will.
You have to watch the birds. Come on.
Okay,
Come on.
I promise.
You can watch it on a plane if you want to.
No, I will watch it.
You got to watch the birds.
It might help.
It could. You might come back and be like, birds are the best.
It might be like, oh, I get what they're saying. Birds aren't that bad.
Maybe you'll Pollyanna it and be like, the birds were being fucked with. Yes. Like the people were the problem.
Yes. I think I might be able to spin that. Awesome.
I think you did.
And nice work. A shout out to Blaine. Great help on this podcast booth.
Thank you so much for shouting out Blaine, because I always feel like I have to turn it like people are like, wow, you built a really great podcast.
I know it was
Everyone
Blaine.
knows. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. We're Facebook friends. You saw the pictures. It wasn't me. It was Blaine.
I saw it.
Yeah.
And nice work on Zombie for sleeping the whole time.
I think he moved around a little. I heard a couple of snores, though.
He's
all
great.
Good. All right.
I blame it on you. Thank you so much, Stu.
Cheers. Thanks
Cheers.
for coming. Thanks, folks. See ya. Well,
He, for his 50th birthday, has a dream of having an orangutan jerk him off.